Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Glossy Philosophy. My name is Chanson Binman and today you are tuned in for a book talk inspired and also movie inspired makeup that is based on what I think Thomas Cromwell, if he was a woman and if he was alive now, what his makeup would look like. And I'm taking inspiration from Angelina Jolie's makeup from Mr. and Mrs. Smith, so stay tuned. Let's get started with the tutorial. So I've already washed my face and prepped my face with skincare, and now we are ready to prep our face with our priming and getting rid of any discoloration. So I'm going to start with Bobbi Brown's Corrector in Bisque, and I'm just going to warm it up with my ring finger. This is a brand new one, so it needs just a little bit more warming up time. A little bit goes a long way with this product. It's very creamy when it's warmed up. I found when I was working freelancing Bobbi Brown counter that a lot of women were just putting on way too much. So you want to work in really thin layers using either your finger or a concealer brush. Okay, now we're going to prime our eyes with our NARS Smudge Proof Tinted eyeshadow base. Same thing on the ring finger. Anytime you're working around your eyes, you want to make sure that you're using your ring finger. It's your most delicate finger that you have, so make sure that you're using really delicate, not only motions and delicate pressure, but that you're also using your ring finger whenever possible. Okay, we're going to go in with Rock and Kohl Charlotte Tilbury in Bedroom Black. Tight line, that lash line. Little dashes. Alright. So now we're ready to start on either the complexion or on the eyeshadow. The eyeshadows that I'm using are pretty basic. They are in very simple browns. So I think we are okay to go in with the concealing and the rest of the look. So just using the GIORGIO ARMANI concealer, and I am actually going to use a concealer brush. And then I can always use my fingers later. So bouncing and pulling the brush as usual, making sure that all hard edges are softened and that we're getting right into that inner corner, because it does tend to get a little purpley blue just from where our veins lie underneath the skin. Alright, now we're going in with our foundation, one pump, and I am going to go back to my 55 because I'm feeling like when, the idea of this character is a little bit more business, well, definitely more business, since we are channeling not only Angelina Jolie and Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but also Thomas Cromwell, who was all business. We're gonna wear our makeup a little bit more than just like an easy breezy Saturday. So just dotting and again using bouncing motions and brushing motions. Bouncing your brush will give you a little bit more coverage, and using regular brush motions will give you a little bit less. So especially on the forehead, we don't really want to bounce it because we don't want a lot of coverage up there because it can get caught in fine lines and wrinkles. Don't want to spend too much time on that cheek area because I know I'm going to be putting other products there. But I do want to cancel out any discoloration and redness that I'm seeing. Bringing it down onto the neck, We also, as we are channeling this character, want to think about how much time would they be spending on their makeup, and I would say not very much. If Thomas Cromwell was a female, I'm pretty sure it would be very basic and yet polished and put together, because you're seeing the king, you're hanging out with all these really influential people, so you have to look put together, you have to look like you're in charge, but you don't have a lot of time because you are actually in charge of the entire kingdom. So back to business, right? We are going to go in with a little bit of highlighter, because he did take a few indulgences for sure. And I feel like a highlighter is not necessary. It is an indulgence. So we're going to go back in with our 55. And probably while you're, putting on your makeup and ruling the roost, ruling the kingdom, you are actually talking or dictating something. So it's not completely different from like anybody who has kiddos. All right, we are going to start our initial powder. So pale yellow powder, Bobbi Brown, on our blush and powder brush. Not going to take too much time. We are working quickly and we are getting things done. Going in with mineralized blush in Sweet Enough, same brush. Right on the meaty part of that cheek, and then brushing away. Just adds a little bit of life. Okay, now we're going to switch to the bronzer brush and go in with bronzer. Because I figure if I have to run out the door because of something that's happened to the king, then I need to make sure that at least my complexion looks really good. And the least important is going to be the eyes for this look, even though they are definitely going to play a key role in the look. All right, we're going to put on our lipstick, which is Kitten Mischief by Lisa Eldridge. And we are going to make sure that we put this in our bag and our little pouch that we carry throughout the day. And then we're going to finish up with Songbird. Again, gloss is an indulgence for most people, I would say, just like highlighter, but it just gives you a more polished look. Okay, now we're going to go in with brows. Sandstone Brun on my angled Sigma brush. And going in the same direction that the hairs are growing naturally. And making our brows authoritative, but not too crazy. Okay, so now we are going on with the eyeshadow. So for today's eyeshadows, we are going to be using Cork, Charcoal Brown, and Vanilla. And these are my eyeshadow, or my brow colors. So I'm going to start by mixing both Cork and Charcoal Brown. And starting the exact same way I normally would on that outer third, sweeping up into that socket and then a little bit above. These browns have both warmth and cool, just in case I decide I need to change my outfit later. Although Thomas Cromwell pretty much wore the same thing from the beginning of his rise to later, he just changed out fabrics, which actually got him into trouble. Because way back when, certain people of certain classes were not allowed to wear certain fabrics. And that was one of the kind of like trumped up charges that they got Thomas Cromwell on and dragged him to the tower. So there you go. Careful what you wear. Again, using my 201 from BK Beauty and doing some windshield wiper motions and also some circles. And then just checking that balance on both sides. This side looks a little bit more saturated, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with my Sony Kashuk tapered crease brush, dip into both colors, and I'm just going to build that up a little bit on the socket. There we go. And do the same thing over here. I've got like a little pocket right in between. Always good to just take a moment make sure both sides are equal. And then I'm using the side of my brush to just kind of soften anything that's looking a little goofy. Okay, we are ready for eyeliner, and I'm going to go in with the Stila Stay All Day. Mine's getting just a little worn, so when you get down to the end of your Stila, make sure you give it a good shake. Following that lower lash line, and then bringing that back into your actual lash line. So for daytime, I feel like if you're wearing black, it's totally okay to go with a black liner. If you're not wearing black, then I think it really depends. It could read a little harsh, but it also greatly depends on your skin tone, where you're going, what you're doing, what other colors you're wearing. If you're just wearing like a bunch of bright colors and then you have black right on your eye, then that absolutely can read a little bit harsh, especially if you're fair. But if you wear glasses, then that can be a great way to pop your eyes. So just play around with it. You'll know when you go into like a public restroom, or you check yourself out in the mirror in your car, and you'll think, whoops, went a little bit too far today with the harshness, and then you'll be able to dial it back. You can always go in with a powder eyeshadow in a really dark brown, or you can do what I'm going to do, which is a gel. A gel for me stays longer than a powder, and because we are busy ruling the kingdom and ruling our own lives, we need longevity. But if you want a softer look, then powder is the way to go. And if you are going to use powder, I would definitely recommend using a primer, an eyeshadow primer underneath, because otherwise it is not going to last. Especially if you accidentally touch your eye throughout the day, it's just going to come right off on your hand. Okay, we are maximizing our lashes with the 3D Maximizer. Making sure those lashes are nice and coated. Going back in for my other eye. Okay. Then we're going to go in with Smoky Lash, because it's going to last all day and it is going to be able to stand up to the rigors that is and was Thomas Cromwell's life. Sometimes I like to just, especially in a new wand, blink through the wand as I quickly rotate it. That's a really great way to make sure you're getting all the goodie on your lash line. And just make sure that you are really rotating that wand. Because otherwise, after a few swipes, you've already used all the product, and then you're just kind of going through the motions but not actually doing anything. Okay. Definitely looking like a boss right now. Okay, this is the moment when we take a step back. We kind of zhuzh our hair up a little bit. Make sure everything's kind of where we want it. And I'm feeling good about the shine, although I will dab a little bit more powder on my nose. Can't have a shiny nose with the king. And we are done. Thank you guys so much for watching this tutorial. It was really an interesting thought process for me to go through what a modern Thomas Cromwell might look like. Would they be a little bit more serious, no makeup, or would they have a little bit more makeup? And the more I thought about it, the more I thought Angelina Jolie's makeup is minimal but impactful, and I think that's exactly the kind of makeup that if Thomas Cromwell was a woman, first of all, and if he was alive right now, that's the kind of makeup that he would be doing on a daily basis. So this, of course, was inspired by Angelina Jolie's look in Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and just kind of her daily vibe as well. So I do beauty videos on Fridays, fashion videos on Wednesdays, and sometimes I do book talks as well. I will make sure that things are linked below. Hit that subscribe, hit the thumbs up, and I'll see you very soon in the next video. Bye!